What is up, Fanatics? It is 8 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means another episode of Home Theater Fanatics Live. Tonight, we're going to do a recap of Cedia Expo 2022. And let me tell you what, the show was absolutely amazing. I'm so happy that the show's back. And last year it was back, but like only 1,500 people went, and I think they said they were going to have something like 15,000 people there this time. So it was much larger than it was last year. Now, not at the levels of years before, but still, it was a sizable show. Hi-Fi Haven, what's up? Fancy intro, bro. Love it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go through and can I hide that? Yeah, I can hide that. Go through and talk about some of the things that I saw at the show that I thought were interesting, or are kind of big news, right? And maybe I'll even be able to share some screen snippets or something like that as well. Now, the first thing, and this is going in reverse order on my Instagram. So if you want to follow along, pop open Instagram.com/Home Theater Fanatics, and we can go in reverse order through my Instagram posts to help me remember what's going on. And it can also give you some visual cues as to what was happening. Now, the first thing I'll bring up is my good buddy Nick over at SVS. They were on the show floor for the very first time at Cedia. Meaning that in the past they've been there, but maybe they were in the hotel or something like that, but they didn't actually have a booth on the floor. But this year they were there and in force. They had their normal crew, and it was really cool to see them there. They had all of their subwoofers, all of their lifestyle gear, all of their cables, speakers on display. Now, they didn't have a demo room. And it would have been really cool if they did have a demo room, doing some kind of theater demo or something like that, which I've seen them do at other things, at other shows. They did that at Expona, and I thought that was really cool. But here they just had their gear there so you could see it. But it was kind of cool to see the tower subwoofers. They had all of their porta boxes, all of their seal boxes, and they had them stacked up, biggest to smallest. And it was nice to see those. But their big push really is around their lifestyle products. So the new version of their powered speakers, the Prime Wireless Pro, and then the Prime Sound, or the Soundbase Pro, I forget the exact model name on that one, are the new iterations of those older technologies that have been around for a little while. And so those are the new things that they are just releasing. On the subwoofer line, they finally got all the subwoofers with all of the same technology on the inside. So the DSP and the app control and all that kind of stuff. So if you remember, they were releasing new models to replace older models. And as they released the new stuff, they would integrate that technology into the new pieces. And they finally made it all through that. And they are now good to go on their subwoofer line as well. So super exciting to see those guys there. Another company that I'm super excited about is Perlisten. And Perlisten was there. They also were on the show floor. They didn't have a demo set up, but they did have some of their speakers there. And I think people have seen their towers before. And I think it's the 115S and the 215, the D215S, double 15 and the single 15. And they have that in 12s as well. So they were showing those things. But the new thing that they had, which was pretty cool, is their in-wall speakers. And that was something that I've not seen before in person. I don't know if they'd shown them anywhere before this show either, but they had those as well. Now, if anybody has any questions, feel free to throw them up. If you want to know about something specific that I might not be talking about, throw that up as well. And I'll do my best to cover those. But it was nice to see Perlisten. I've got a picture of their booth up, or a video, and then also a picture of some of the speakers and the 215S, and that's really cool. Another company that I really like is MadVR Labs. And if you don't know, Hi-Fi Haven says Perlisten makes some awesome looking stuff. They absolutely do. I run their subs in my theater as well, and the performance is just off the charts. If you go back and look, you can see the 15. Now all this stuff's expensive, right? But you can see the measurements. Man, it's just down to 10 hertz like crazy. So I can't even imagine what the 215 is going to look like. Now, they said that they will send out another piece of gear for review in the near future on the subwoofer side. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I think they're going to release some new stuff, but we'll see what that is going to look like. What do you think the price is going to be? Frozen walls. I don't know what a frozen wall is. um, uh, can you rephrase the question? All right. Jared says MadVR was awesome. We're a part of a lot of the top end demos. Yeah, I think they were pretty much everywhere this year. So I remember MadVR Labs from I think 2018 and maybe it was 2019. I think it was 18. It was in Denver. And they had just a little tiny booth. I mean, it was tiny. And it was just big enough for like 2 TVs and one of their units. And I think the unit was even a prototype, and they were showing what their software would do. And for folks that don't know, MadVR is a video processor, and it's competing with the likes of Lumagen, really. And there are really 2 on the market right now. There's the Lumagen stuff and the MadVR platform. Now, the difference is that Lumagen is, I think, more of a maybe it's an ASIC or a flip chip kind of architecture, meaning that it's not a CPU architecture like a Wintel box, right? Whereas the box from MadVR is a PC, right? A computer, system board, video card, and all that kind of stuff. Running, I believe, and don't quote me because I don't. This is a little bit of conjecture. Running a Linux kernel, right, with the software, and this is a fork of the software that's been publicly available for free for a long time. But in the free version of the software, you can only use it to modify the output of your computer for files that are played from the computer, meaning that there's no way to pipe in a Kaleidescape into that PC or a Blu-ray player into that PC and then pipe that through their processing and then out the video card to whatever your display is. Well, the Pro version, the MadVR Envy, that includes a HDMI capture card. And I think it's just a commodity capture card that you can buy off the shelf. If you look at pictures closely, you can kind of go and Google HDMI capture card and find the one that looks the same. Say, oh, look, that's the model that they use, right? So, I mean, there's no secret sauce inside of the box. The secret sauce is the software. And really, that's where all the magic is always going to be. And so the MadVR Envy, you plug your sources in, and that can then manage all that stuff. Or maybe the sources still go into your process or into your AVR or your pre-pro, and then from there into the MadVR, and then that out to the display device. I'm not sure where it's best to put this in line at. I would guess it would probably be best to put this in line after your pre-pro, since you're just using a single connection at that point. Although maybe there's some latency that gets injected. Man, we need to get Joey on here because I've never touched one of these things myself, so I don't know the specific setup and that kind of thing outside of the materials that are kind of publicly available for MadVR as far as setup and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know what kind of latency it adds into to the system. So it would be interesting to see the way that this actually works. Hold on, there's a bunch of questions that we're going to go through here. Okay, what do I think the price is going to be on the in walls? I think they're going to be fairly expensive. I think if you look at their towers and their other speakers and compare that to some other high-end brand that has in walls and whatever that prices are, it'll probably map out kind of the same. So if the towers are 2,500 here for this brand, and then they're 3,000 for this brand, and then the in walls for this brand over here are 2,500, then maybe they'll be 2,000 over here. All that stuff's kind of linear. Just depending if you're kind of comparing apples to apples. It's got a tweeter and 2 mid-range drivers and this side, whatever. I would think that you could probably do some conjecture that way, but I don't have cost numbers specifically for that. But it will be in line in the same way that they have costed out all of their other gear. So it's definitely a premium brand, and the pricing will be premium like the other pieces, but it all sounds so good. Now, for what Jared said about they were part of a lot of the top end demos, that's absolutely true. I think everybody had a MadVR this time. I didn't hear the word Lumagen a single time at the demo or at Cedia. There, nobody said Lumagen at all. Now, maybe there was a Lumagen there and I didn't see it, and I didn't see Lumagen at the show themselves either. But man, I personally, and I've said this before, I think that the way that MadVR is building the platform is the right way to go, meaning that they can be very flexible with what they do because they're using just a commodity PC. There's nothing special about it. They just need the horsepower, right, and the video card. And as video cards get more powerful, they can ramp up what they can do for processing, right? Because the amount of frames and the things they can do in each frame per second is going to be based on the power of that video card. So they're not using the processor for this. I'm sure they're offloading this to the GPU for processing, just like games do, right? That's what they are purpose built to do. And you could take a PC and load it up with 2 or 3 of these things in SLI if you wanted to spend a lot of money and go absolutely nuts with it. So I really think the platform is the right way to go. But to get back to Jared's comment, MadVR had a picture of a pallet of boxes of MadVR units that they had brought to the event. So, I don't know, it was 12 or something like that. So they were in a lot of places, which is really cool. So I think to even speak more broadly about things that have become, kind of ubiquitous, there are 2 pieces of gear that I see in almost every high-end install now. And I'm trying to think for exceptions, and anything that considers itself to be high end is going to have a Kaleidescape. That's because there's no competition for the Kaleidescape whatsoever. 4K disc player does not compete. Streaming does not compete. There's nothing else out there that competes with Kaleidescape right now. They completely own the high end home theater source niche. That's it. That niche is all theirs. It's all theirs. And I use one here at home. It's absolutely awesome. I need a ton more storage. I've got a little 6 terabyte unit that's old. And I'm still on the old consolidated platform where you have player and storage inside the same unit. So, and we'll talk a little bit about Kaleidescape in a bit, but Kaleidescape was in every demo and MadVR was in every demo. Like I said, I didn't go to any demo and they're like, yeah, we're using Lumagen for our processing. No. So take that for whatever it's worth. But I really think that there's a sea change going on as far as processing. Now, in high-end systems, the things that you'll see vary are the kind of amplifier that you have and kind of speakers that you have and what screen you have and, your projector. Most of the time you will see CinemaScope, 235 to 1 and not 16:9 unless you're doing ultra short throw. And we'll talk about ultra short throw in a bit. But Barco was there and they were in a lot of rooms, and I absolutely lust after their projectors, but man, they are way outside of my price range, particularly since I don't even charge these companies to come and make these videos and talk about them. Do this stuff for free. What am I thinking? I should charge like all these other companies do. I should make some money off these videos. But here I am not doing that. But yeah, MadVR, awesome. They also had a demo outside of the room that they were at. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. So, I talked to the folks over at Trinov, and the people at Trinov are just absolutely outstanding. They're really great people. But Trinov came together with MadVR, Sonos Faber, and Macintosh. I forget the screen. I don't think it was Seymour Screens. I think it was somebody else to set up probably the most expensive demo room at Cedia. There's a lot of questions, but let's continue talking about this. So they set up what I consider to be I think it's absolutely empirically the most expensive demo room there. And it was quite good. It was something like 13.16.6 six or something like that. I mean, it was a lot of subwoofers and a lot of channels, and about 14,000 watts of power. But it was broken up into a lot of mono blocks. So, obviously, Macintosh wanted to be impressive with these huge, like 10-foot racks of gear full of Macintosh gear. And obviously, anybody in their right mind that has normal people money would not buy that many monoblocks for a home theater. They'd buy like the 16 channel amplitude from Trinov to go with the 16 channel or 20 channel Trinov, rather than a whole bunch of monoblocks. But it was really cool to see, and the system sounded really good. I wasn't super impressed with the choice of demo material, and and this is a personal taste kind of thing, because they had a lot of performance in there, and what they really went for, which is a strategy that you can take, is a emotionally moving demo experience, right? They wanted to show how, if their setup could emotionally move you, that they were successful, right? And for $1 million plus system, man, it better emotionally move me, and it did, right? But that had nothing to do with the gear. It was real. That's the content, right? The gear will give you a great experience, but I think they could have selected a few pieces that might have been a bit more dynamic. So, if I remember correctly, they had like a music video thing. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. But I wanted something that was just like make my hair stand on end, and to do that is pretty devastating stuff. To make my hair stand on end. But that's what I really wanted. And, it didn't really deliver that experience. It sounded great. It looked great. It was all awesome. It's really cool. But I would have selected a few different pieces of content that I think would have spoken more to myself if I were choosing for myself. I'm curious if anybody else out there that has saw the demo, if they think any different, right? And then just for demos in general there, man, it was like Top Gun Maverick everywhere. Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. And I don't think Top Gun Maverick is the best material to demo a home theater. It's fine, but I think there are things out there that are much more dynamic, right? And everybody says, "Oh, it's the best sounding movie I've ever heard." Blah blah blah. I don't know. It's okay. It's good. There's no knocking it. But I think there are things out there that are better. Maybe not a better movie, but I think they have better scenes for doing demo. It's like Ready Player One, the chase scene. That's an okay scene, but it's not the best demo scene I've ever heard. Now it's good because everybody's familiar with it, and they have a point of reference for that, so they know what it sounds like in their system at home because they've watched it 200 times. So when they listen to it on a different system, they can tell the difference, right? Something, you got that ear muscle memory, experience muscle memory, but it's not the best demo scene I've ever watched. Somebody was doing Blade Runner 2049, the junkyard scene where they shoot down the guy and the ship, and that scene's actually pretty good. But getting back to the big room, it was really cool because they had all the technology, and they had pieces that I really like, and I think have become fairly synonymous with high end in home theater, and that's MadVR, Kaleidescape. Those two pieces. Just there's no replacement for them at this point. And Trinov, they're kind of three processors that I think of when I think top end. There's Trinov, there's Storm Audio, and Acurus. And Acurus, they've been having a hard time getting their DSP measurement room correction tool out, but it's available. We'll talk about that later because I actually saw it with my eyes. They had one there. It's not mythical. It's there. They had it. They were showing it to people. It's really cool. But I think of those three. But I didn't see Acurus in any demo rooms this time. It was Storm and Trinov for the most part. I can't think of anyone else being called out. But I don't remember everything specifically. But anyway, good stuff from MadVR and good stuff from that consortium of folks that put that demo room together. It was really a special treat. And outside of, a room that, an affluent person puts together that costs $1 million, that's, one of the few chances that mere mortals will have to sit in a room with that kind of gear. And I don't think I've ever been in a Sonus Faber theater before. So that was kind of cool too. All right, so let's look at some comments here. Joey Peacock's new home. Yep, he moved from Accurus over to MadVR. Again, congratulations to Joey on that. Super good dude. I got to meet him for the first time ever at Cedia 2022, and just absolutely top-notch dude. MadVR got a good get with him, and I wish them the best of success. And I think you're going to see lots of good things. And if you guys want to send me one of your busted up old versions, and let me test that thing out and talk about it a little bit. Man, I'm starting to it's turning into a lust-worthy piece of gear for me. And when it turns into lust-worthy, it's something that I just have to have. Percy Bradford wished that they were more cost effective. I assume that you're talking back about the Perlisten stuff. I do too, but I don't begrudge any company charging what their stuff's worth. And man, they put a lot of effort into designing, building, construction, shipping, supporting this gear. And yeah, I like it, and I'm good with them. If you waited in line long enough, you could see the Envy Extreme and the Trinov back. Yeah, that's what we just talked about. Super awesome. Really good stuff. Hi-Fi Haven needs to look at MadVR's technology. I agree. It is the best. Source to pre-pro to MadVR. Okay, so MadVR sits between your display device and your pre-pro. That makes a lot of sense, as that you might need 15 inputs on your MadVR otherwise. All right. We need Perlisten back on the show. As soon as I can get them back on, I will do so. I'm going to send out my roundup email post Cedia, because the lead up to Cedia, everybody is busy and nobody's thinking about Home Theater Fanatics and scheduling time. They're just like, how do we get our stuff and set up at Cedia, and what are we going to do? Blah blah blah. But I'll see if they want to come back on. I'm sure they will. Just depends on scheduling. What did you think of the projectors at Cedia? Okay, so I spent some time. I went and saw Epson. JVC was there. Sony was there. Now, I think when you are a consumer of mere mortal status, you're going to look at Epson, you're going to look at JVC, and you're going to look at Sony. If you're an enthusiast. Now, there are lots of other brands like Optoma and others that you can look at if you're not quite willing to spend those kind of bucks, because I think to jump into the Epson Sony JVC realm, it's like $5K at the lowest, and that's to jump into the Epson. And if you need to go lower than that, you're going to be looking at some other stuff. I think. Yeah. So anyway, I use an Optoma, right? I haven't spent the big bucks on Projector yet, but those three products were all there. And I was just at the Projector shootout in Colorado Springs about a month ago, something like that. And I got to see all the new Sonys. I got to see all the JVC stuff and the one Epson, and it's the Epson that I have the video of on Instagram. So go check that out so you can see this exact model if you want to see what I'm talking about. I enjoy the JVC the most, right? I'm not saying that it's the most cost effective. If I were going to spend money, I'd probably buy the Epson because it's the least expensive and it's really good. It just doesn't have the black level response that the JVC does. And the JVC, kind of destroys everything at that level. Beyond those three, people are using the Barco stuff and they're using the Christie projectors and those kinds of things. And, they're all super awesome. They got built-in anamorphic lens and all kinds of stuff. But the price point on that is just so excessively high that it removes it from, any conversation that I have to purchase something, because, that's, I can't spend $120,000 on a projector. Just can't do it. I can't spend $40,000 a projector. So, you got to kind of swim in your lane. And my lane is not that stuff. That stuff's all awesome. but it's not realistic for me. But if you want to see what the really good stuff looks like, you got to go to Cedia and check this out, or find a local shop that sells them that's got one set up, and check it out. But what did I think of the projectors? I think they're great. But I think JVC has an edge in black levels in comparison to the others. Now, another thing from a projector point of view that I saw at the show that's very telling is the number of ultra short throw projectors, right? So there were tons of them there. Samsung had theirs, Epson had theirs, LG had theirs, Hisense had theirs. And Hisense was actually in the next level demo room, which was, and I loved it. I think that was an example of a theater that just about any enthusiast could put together and actually have a super awesome experience in. Next Level Acoustics and Hisense, they knocked that demo room out of the park. Now, the way they built their room, they built it with a big old hole in it with a curtain. So that made it nearly impossible to set up and create the kind of bass levels that you want in your theater. You know how it is. If you have a huge room in your basement that's open to the rest of the house and it's got stairs going out, it's just hard to pressurize it, right? And so they were fighting against that. If they'd had a closed area where you could actually close the door, I think it would have been 10 times even better than what they had. But it was really, really good. So I guess we're going to talk about that for just a second now. But Next Level Acoustics, they've got great new in-wall speakers. They were kind of soundbar folks before, making just crazy, huge, awesome soundbars. But now they're in in-walls and subs, and it's just really good stuff. Check out Next Level Acoustics. You can see videos on my Instagram of that, and then it'll make its way to YouTube slowly as I have time to actually repost everything into YouTube. But check those out. Really, really great experience there. Easy Home Theater Tech. What's up, dude? You should have filmed me. I'm super jealous, man. What's up with that? Filming other people, but not helping me out. I'm walking around, schlepping my camera. Just can't get the shot. I'm trying to selfie with people, and they're like, "Why are you selfieing with people? This other guy had people filming for him." I'm like, damn it. Damn it. That's all I can say. No, it's super awesome to meet you at the show, man. Really, really happy to see you there. But back to the ultra short throw projectors, Next Level Acoustics. All right, let's see how can I tangentialize this. All right, so I saw the stuff from Samsung, although it was just kind of a static display of their ultra short throw. The Hisense was kind of static as well, but the Epson stuff I actually got to look at, and they showed a setup process and everything, and it was really cool. I actually have a Hisense downstairs right now that I'm working with, and I'm waiting for the update for the Dolby Vision. Yeah, they're saying that they can do Dolby Vision in a ultra short throw projector, so I'm waiting for that update to come across. But the Epson was really cool, and they've overcome so many of the issues of setup, right? In the past, when you have an ultra short throw projector, you set it down and you have to tilt it all these different ways, and then your screen's on the wall. It's not perfect, and it's a nightmare to set up. But now you can kind of get it lined up right, and then you use your phone and take a picture, and it sends information back to the projector, and then it goes bloop, 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 and it's done. It's perfect. It's amazing. And Epson has that technology. Hisense has that technology. And I'm not sure who else has it, but really, really good stuff from the Epson and the Hisense that I'm demoing now. Super good stuff there as well. All right, so let's go back. What do we got here? Do you think the prices on Limogen will go down since MadVR is coming? No, I don't think the prices will go down at all. I think they're going to charge what they charge, and I don't think that the price will come down at all on that. I have no insider information. That's just me, and that's the first time I've even thought about the topic. But I don't think the price will come down at all. Jared says the Trinov Macintosh demo was good, but underwhelming for the price. Yes, I agree 100%. The Focal speaker demo surprisingly blew us away. Really eye-opening. Okay, I saw the Focal demo also at Expona, and then also at previous Cedias, and Focal has always blown me away. They always are rocking awesome. And this year was no difference. I don't remember, what other components they were using inside of their demo. So if you do remember, please post that up and let us know. But it's really good, and I'm in love with Focal, and they are one of my favorite, what I would call traditional speaker brands, right? Because they've been around for a while. They're not like a new kid on the block, like Perlisten or something like that. But I love the Focals. If I could get a pair of Grand Utopias and put down in my living room, do it in a heartbeat, right? I would take them over a pair of Wilsons or a pair of Magicos. Give me the Grand Utopias all day long. Take it. Be super happy. I'd take the others too and be super happy as well, just to keep it real. But I love Focal. And your point is very well taken about the underwhelming for the price. So you're looking at the LS 1200 and the Sony 5000 ES. Really between those two, I think the Epson is, I don't know the price on the Sony 5000. I think the LS 12000 is $5,000, and I think that's a solid projector. And if I were going to be spending money on a projector right now and I couldn't get into the JVC, whatever that entry level bulb model is, I forget the model number. If I didn't have the cash to get into that, I would go into the Epson LS 12000 for sure. Just no questions asked. That's the one. So I think you've got a really good strategy there of what you're thinking about. So Derek has the LS 12000, saw it in way. Yeah, dude, it's good. Super good. And there he is, the man of the hour, Joe Peacock. We talked about you a lot, and we talked about MadVR a lot. And I didn't even charge you guys to talk about you, so I'm just saying. Jared Black says the LS 800 was pretty impressive. Yes, I agree. And did you get to go look at the Epson room that was over in the Omni? So I had an opportunity to have an appointment with Epson and go over and look at that gear. And I've got a few clips up on Instagram of the room there, and just really, really good. Super impressive ultra short throw. And they are all in on the ultra short throw market. And so, this is, we're talking a lot of home theater, but the question always comes around is, why would you use an ultra short throw projector? What is the point? The reason for most people, some people have different reasons, but the reason most people move into an ultra short throw is because they want something larger than an 85-inch television, but they're not trying to do a full-blown theater with like a projector on the back wall and that kind of thing, right? It's like for the 100-inch screen kind of stuff, maybe the 120-inch. The biggest ones kind of go up to 150, but 150, man, you're big. The 150 is big. So it's really for that 100-inch, 120-inch 16:9 TV, right? It's a TV replacement at that size. And in the past and in the present, as you look at prices, you can get an 85-inch television that's awesome for a few grand, right? $3,000 to $4,000 to what's on sale, and do pretty well. But if you want to go bigger than that, the price just goes crazy, right? That's going to change because there are a bunch of television shit. Everybody's like, we got our 98-inch TV. It's one piece, you buy it and you just take it home. So, those are going to be creeping up into the 90s, right? That'll be the next thing we see. We saw 85s, and now we'll be up into the 90s. And that 98 will compete very well, I think, with a 100-inch ultra short throw projector. And if 100-inch is the size that you want, maybe that new Samsung 98-inch television, whatever the price point is the right way to go. If you can get a 98-inch OLED, it's going to be better than any ultra short throw projector. Just like an awesome OLED television is going to be better than any other home theater projector, but you just can't have the same kind of experience, right? It's a different kind of thing, right? If they come up with an acoustically transparent 135-inch scope screen, 235 to 1 aspect ratio television, I'm all in. Right, I'll rip my projector out and spend the $500,000. Not really, to buy it, but that's what it would take to kind of supplant in the home in theater projection world. But for TVs right now, you can spend $3,000 on 3,500 on a ultra short throw and get 120-inch and have a wonderful experience. And if you go back to the Epson display or the Next Level Acoustics room, or the Hisense stuff that was there. I mean, it's a great experience. It's really, really cool. The limitation for me and why I can't use it in home theater is it doesn't do scope screen, right? And I think there are now some ALR AT screens, but I really in a theater want to have the center channel behind the screen and not underneath it. Again, personal preference, but that's the way that I think home theater should be done. I think that's the best experience. All right. Easy Home Theater Tech, Hi-Fi Haven says, "Hey, Ike, what's up, Ike? It was great meeting you. Yeah, please do send that picture, man. I want to put that up on Instagram. I think that'd be awesome. So when you get a chance, please do." So Focal used the Astral 16, which is from the Focal license from Storm. Yep. So for folks that don't know, their Astral 16 is the Storm, and Storm is one of the top units out. I think the Storm audio unit might be the best sounding processor on the market. But I think once you get up, in the top, Storm, Trinov, Acurus, it's so close that it doesn't matter. But those, there is absolutely a quality difference between those and the lower, the Denons and the Onkyos and all that, and the Pioneers and whatever. There's a huge difference there. But once you get up to the top, it gets a lot more difficult to discern amongst, unless you got those golden audiophile ears, and I don't think I have those. Gary, SI Services, welcome, man. Glad to have you on the show with us tonight. We are talking Cedia 2022 recap, and we'll never finish everything in the next 20 minutes that we have left in the show, but we are plowing through stuff as quickly as we can. Okay, so let me scroll through my pictures here and get to the next topic. Okay, Kaleidescape. Let's talk about that a little bit. So Kaleidescape has moved away from their platform of consolidated one unit devices that has both storage and player inside of it. And like I have a Strato S, I think it's called, which has 6 terabytes, which is woefully small, with a player. And their new stuff, and I'm looking at a picture now, they have if you look at a 1U unit in a rack, it's about this wide and about this tall. And you have one unit here, and that's the Terra server, and they have that in 12 and 22 terabyte. And then you have a Strato C little player over here. So if you wanted to in your home, if you had multiple televisions, you could take a Terra 22 or a Terra 12 and a Strato C and put it in your theater, and then take another Strato C and put it in a bedroom, and another Strato C and put it in your living room, and you'd be able to play everything off the one server on all of those players. They also have a whopping looks like maybe 2U rack size 88 terabyte server, and that's getting into some serious storage there. 88 terabytes. I would be probably happy with the 22 terabyte unit. That might actually even hold every movie that I own, because I don't buy old movies on Kaleidescape. It's just the new stuff or demo material that I want. Any old discs that I have, I'll just pull out the Panasonic and plug it in, while it stays plugged in, and grab the disc and pop it in and watch it. So, I don't believe in holistically making that change unless if you're stacked, do whatever, right? But for, again, us mere mortals, I think the right strategy is buy the Kaleidescape, and then as new movies come out and the movies that you have to have for whatever reason that are your favorites, get those, and then don't worry about the rest. Just use your Blu-ray player. And then eventually the Blu-ray player will just never be used anymore over time, right? But that's their new strategy. And they had a nice booth set up. I went and I talked. I met with the CEO of the company and talked a little bit about what they've got going on. And really, really cool, really, really good stuff. And I hope to bring more content around Kaleidescape to you, because I do solidly believe that it is the best experience that you can have for home theater, in a notch above Blu-ray. Yeah, I know it costs a lot, but you just have to accept that, yes, it's expensive, and get over that, and then either do it or not. And for me, I absolutely am all in, and maybe I'll even get a little Strato C for the living room, and it should still be able to play from my Strato S, and then I just rotate movies in as to what I need at the time to be able to view, and I just live with it. Another thing I noticed is that Epson, if you went over to the Omni to look at their room, they were fully partnered with Kef there. And I don't think Kef was at the show themselves, and I can't remember any other Kef speakers at the show. And I really like Kef stuff, but they were there with Epson, and they had their LS60s there, which was really cool on the demo. So kudos to Kef for getting the gear in with those folks. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about, I think, the most important, impactful news, at least to me, that came out of Cedia. And this comes from a company, well, two companies. One that I just, it doesn't really come into my realm, into my sphere of stuff that I deal with often. But there's a company called, and then the other does, Origin Acoustics, right? And they are a big CI, custom installer company. So not necessarily anything that you or I might look for if we went shopping for speakers to install, right? That it's not often that, that's the kind of stuff that the do-it-yourselfer is really going to get into. You see this more in homes that are being built, and you'll have integrators that use their in-wall speakers or architectural stuff and that kind of thing, right? So, but apparently this company makes gangbuster money, right? They just buku bucks, right? Really, really huge, really successful. They've done a really good job monetizing themselves and creating a brand. Well, they are still working on building their brand. And one of the things that they've done is they've partnered with a number of companies that will help them fill in deficiencies in their own brand for whatever reason. They are partnering with B&O, Bang & Olufsen, for kind of the more high-end look kind of gear. And man, B&O, they have some awesome stuff. I don't think I'm going to get to them tonight, but they did really, really cool things at Cedia 2022. And man, just everything they have is awesome. Like the 50s and 90s and their new sound bar, just amazingly good stuff. Sounds so good. I had an opportunity to go listen and see the unveiling of their sound bar, which is the BO Sound Theater, I think is the name of it. Really cool. I mean, and everything, everything's all tricked out. It's always on motorized stands, and they have like televisions that rise up and down. And this sound bar, you actually mount your TV to the sound bar, right? And then you can mount the sound bar either to a motorized stand that pivots, swivels, or you can put it on the wall, and it has these arms that push it in and out, so you can angle it, and it's all motorized. But the TV sits on top. The TV's not mounted to the wall or to a mount. The TV's mounted to the sound bar, which is mounted to the mount, which is mounted to the wall. So it's all super cool. It sounded absolutely amazing. But there's that piece. But the bigger piece is from a subwoofer point of view, in their words, not mine. The Origin acoustic subwoofers were not that good, and they wanted a partner that made great subwoofers, and they've partnered with Velodyne. And I don't know if you know, but I've covered Velodyne a bit over the last little while. And a gentleman named Mansour Mamangani, he lives in Germany. He owns Audio Reference in Germany, which is a humongous distributor up there, reseller. Just banging big business. I mean, it's huge. He bought the brand 3 years ago, and they've been working through strategy of how to reestablish themselves back in the market. Well, this is how they're going to do it. They have partnered with Origin Acoustics, and the Velodyne line of subwoofers is going to be their high-end line of subwoofers. And to this day, my favorite pre-built sealed 18-inch subwoofer is the DD Plus 18 from Velodyne. I absolutely love it. Now, mine has suffered the same fate that many older Velodyne subwoofers have faced, which is a dead amplifier, so it no longer works. I'm going to try and figure out how to get a new amp for it, or someone to repair the amp or whatever. But you just buzzes now. Not the speaker, but the amp itself buzzes. It's really weird. But still, even broken, that is my favorite subwoofer of all time in the sealed 18, something that you could buy off the shelf, so to speak, and put in your home theater. Just sounds like a subwoofer is supposed to sound. The performance is just off the charts, just amazing. So I'm super, super happy to see Velodyne and Mansour coming into the US market and the world market, leveraging a partnership with Origin Acoustics as, I guess, the larger sales and distribution. I'm not sure what the deal is. I'm not sure how it's structured, but if you looked, all of the Velodyne subwoofers were there at the Origin Acoustics demo booth. Super, super cool stuff. All right, I talked a bit about Next Level Acoustics already and their new speakers. Now, let's talk a little bit about screens, and particular the Seymour Screen Excellence brand. And so, they make really, really good stuff. I actually have a Seymour trim with the, I forget the type of material, and it's just woven. And for me, woven works because I'm close to the screen and I can't use perf, and I want AT, and their woven screens are the best, bar none. I absolutely love them. So he's released a new device called a retro I think it's called Retro Mask. So if you have a 16:9, if you have a scope screen and you want to be able to mask down to 16:9, right? So you need to shave off. Let me see if I can line myself up here. Shave off this, the edges of the screen, right? And can I do it? Let's see. All right, there's that hand. Here's this hand. And you need your screen to go like this, right down to 16:9. You in the past, you would buy a masking screen, or you would have little things that you could stick up on your screen to mask it down. You'd build some custom velvet panels or something. Well, he's got these things that look kind of like window shades, and they mount at the top of your screen. And then when you push the button, they come down and they mask your screen off to 16:9. And the cool thing is you can integrate this with Kaleidescape or whatever your control system is. So if you're using Kaleidescape and a control system, Kaleidescape will identify what the aspect ratio of the movie is. And if you need to go down to 16:9, it'll automatically trigger these things to come down, right? So there's really cool stuff you can do with it. But it's really cool because this is retrofit. You don't need to buy a new screen. You don't have to go out and do it. You just buy these things, and it's like $1,000 for the two pieces. You tell them, how big your screen is. They will custom build the right size for you. And then you just screw them and mount them to the top of your screen, and you're good to go. It's absolutely awesome. I love it. And for $1,000, it's not pocket lint, but I mean, that's a number that's, reasonable. You're certainly not going to buy an auto masking screen for $1,000, right? I mean, if you wanted to go the inexpensive route, you go like a silver ticket screen or something that's not very good, and then you could stick this on there and have some type of reasonable masking system for a very inexpensive screen. Not that I would do that, but it's a way to go. For somebody out there that has had a screen for a long time, and at the time they didn't pick up masking for their screen, this is a great way to go back and retrofit one of these awesome screens that you've got, and have that automation and be able to give you that pro level experience. So good stuff from Chris Seymour. Super happy for that. And there was a demo room that was, let me see if I can put it together. It was Storm Audio, Ascendo speakers. Yeah, and they're the guys that make that 50-inch crazy subwoofer, right? Go to my Instagram. You can see it there. It's super crazy. They make like a 80-something inch as well. Front row seating was there. I can't remember. What else was in there? It was Kaleidescape, and it had a Seymour Screen Excellence screen. Percy says Seymour is very reasonable with their prices. Yeah, I love Seymour. I run it in my theater. I have the Trim L and with a Neo Inlighter material, and absolutely happy with it. Well, that demo room, one of my favorite demo rooms. It was popping off in there. I hope you had a chance to go see that demo. It was really, really good. All right, televisions, just a little bit there. Sony, LG, Samsung were there. I did not see Vizio. Did not see Hisense televisions. Tons of great stuff from all of the companies. And Samsung is now in the OLED game, right? But they call it QD OLED. So quantum dot OLED is a little bit different technology, and they say it's brighter, has the ability to be brighter than other OLEDs. Go look for some tests to see if there's any veracity to that claim. I don't know. I just know that I went from booth to booth to booth looking at their televisions, and anything that had the word OLED in it just is amazing. right? Not that this is shocking or new news to anybody. Oh yeah, and Joe Peacock's right. The MadVR was also in the demo room. Um, it's just the picture quality on these things is just, I mean, it's really good. We thought we had it good back in the day with the plasma stuff. I mean, OLED just kills. It's so good. Um, and you're getting to the point where the difference in these sets is getting kind of minuscule, right? Which processing do you like better? Is the Sony going to give you that much of a better experience than the other things? It's just they're so good. All right, so Joey says Sound Room 2, Storm, Ascendo, Seymour, Road One, Barco, MadVR. What an awesome room that was. I think that might be my favorite. I think that might be it might be my favorite. And it's kind of funny because in my theater I've got Seymour, I've got Acurus, and Acurus and Storm honestly are really similar. Storm's more advanced, I think, meaning it has more DSP chips and stuff, but they have the same kind of DSP chips inside of it. Barco obviously is super overkill, right? And the MadVR, from a price point of view, prices it out of mere mortal realm as well. But yeah, this was this absolutely stunning. I mean, I would run the system that they had there every day of the week and twice on Sundays. Super good. And with the exception of the Barco is the really crazy expensive piece that just it's something that most people just wouldn't even entertain. Outside of that, I mean, this is like a real person theater almost. Really, really good. Derek says, still got his Panty Plasma 55-inch 3D. Awesome, man. That's super cool. I had a Panasonic Plasma as well, and it's good stuff. I basically had to give it away though when I was trying to sell it. There's not a lot of resale value on those, unfortunately. Okay. Talked a little bit about the televisions. Going back to Focal. Focal is showing a new line of speakers there that look like regular speakers, right? So if you look at Focal stuff, the great Utopias and the Sopras, they're kind of like angled and that kind of stuff. Well, these new ones are just like a regular looking speaker. And I didn't get a chance to hear them, but I love Focal, so hopefully those turn out to be pretty good. There were some racing simulators there, which were cool. I don't know a lot about that stuff. Google Home was there with a lot of gear. Paradigm had speakers. All the Marantz and Denon stuff was there, and the new Marantz looks good. The AV10 or something like that, and then the amplifier to go along with it. They're trying to break into the real deal pre-pro market and compete with the big boys. And it's yet to be seen if they will be able to do so or not. But they can do it if they want to. I think L Acoustics was there. Okay, so funny thing about L Acoustics, their gear is great. It's super expensive, super awesome, right? Sounds super good. LG had a party, and I was lucky enough to get an invite to the party, and it was at Star Power, which was a big home theater place in Dallas. So drove up there, went to this party, and this party was off the hook. They had this, big table of lobster tails and shrimp and all this food and whatnot, but they had John Legend singing live there, right? And he sang like 4 songs. And it was really, really cool to see him in person. I'd never seen him in person, and he wasn't close enough to touch, but he was like, just like he's like right there. Oh, there he is. He's playing piano right there. But the PA system that he used, was the L Acoustic system, and it sounded awesome, right? It was really good. I thought it was pretty cool that I got to hear the L Acoustic stuff there. I'd never heard it before because they weren't playing it in their demo booth, right? Because it was just like a regular kind of booth thing, not a theater room. But I got to still hear it at the show, and it sounded awesome in a real live music environment. But that LG party, dude, if you guys can get invited to the parties, I got to go to the Samsung dinner as well the night before, which is really awesome. And I'm a huge fanboy of Samsung. If you don't know, I am like Samsunged out, right? If I can get something that has Samsung on it, man, I don't know. I'm biased. I'll say it. Not that I've got a ton of review stuff around floating around about their stuff, but man, I've got a Samsung monitor in front of me. I've got a Samsung washer and dryer. Gosh, what else is Samsung in my house? I've got a vacuum cleaner that's Samsung. I don't have a Samsung television. I have a Vizio TV of all things. I've got a Vizio TV and Hisense ultra short throw projector, and then the home theater projector in the basement. Oh no, I do have a Samsung TV. I've got the Samsung frame in the breakfast area, which is really awesome. I love the frame. So let's talk about that for a second. Man, there's so much. You guys got to go to the show. It's really good. But the frame 2022 model is so much better than the 2021 model that I have, because they figured out glare reduction, or at least applied it to the television in the way that this should have been done to the 2021 version. And it makes it so much better. It makes it feel much more like a real piece of artwork when you're not watching television content on it. And I'm so jealous. It's so nice. It's super cool. And I'm all in. But yeah, I'm massive Samsung fanboy. I think I'll even buy a Samsung PC for a laptop when I need to refresh. And I want to get a Samsung refrigerator and oven and all that stuff. It's crazy. I know it's bad, but I can't help it. I love it. And dude, the wall by Samsung is so awesome. And they finally are doing OLED. Anyway, but I got to go to their dinner and met some of the people that worked there, and just really, really, really cool folks. And their new super slimline soundbar, that's another must-have for me. So I'll be buying one of those at some point and slapping it up on the wall and creating some content around that. Joey Peacock asks, did you see Christie Digital Eclipse Room at the Lingdorf Audio Pre-Pro? No, I haven't talked about that yet. And I looked at it, but I didn't get a chance to hear it. Lingdorf is really awesome, super expensive. Christie, again, all that stuff is super awesome, but it's not in the realm of mere mortals. So for most of us, it doesn't really exist, right? That's for folks that want to go out and spend, I don't know, $500,000 on their room, then it exists. Probably more than that, actually. But it's super cool, super awesome. But not really stuff that I would necessarily talk too much about, other than to say, man, really cool, because it is. But that's all I've got to say about that. JVC was there with a ton of stuff. They always have a ton of good stuff. It was very popular. Audio Control was showing their stuff off. Not a lot of changes there. They just went up to 8K on their processors, which is really good. Has some awesome pho. So I found a little place that was close to my hotel, had pho, and I've got a Instagram up reel for that. So if you like pho, you go check it out. Yeah, $450,000 for the projector. Yeah, so your room is going to be well over $1 million if you're dropping $500K on your projector only. So yeah, just not in the realm of mere mortals. Okay, what is the company? I can't remember the name that does the speakers. Hang on, let me click. Devalier. DVLA was there, and I don't know that there was anything really different that I hadn't seen before, but they had their Phantom and all that stuff, and they had their new soundbar. I really like it, really cool. Kind of on the pricey side, but whatever. I think it's super cool. And then just to, I guess we'll end up on Acurus a little bit. Super happy to see that they were showing off Aspect, and we talked about this before, but I think when they can buy Raspberry Pis, it will become more available. Everybody in the world wants to buy Raspberry Pis, and they're almost impossible to buy now. And their platform is built around the Raspberry Pi, and that is a problem. So hopefully those start to become more available in the near future, and that will become more broadly available to their partners, because that is the last hurdle that they need to get over for the Act 4 and the Muse to really become, I think, more mainstream. And with that, I think they could make it a little more mainstream and take it out of the purely CI kind of world. All right. It's 9:01, and that is, I think, the end, unless anybody has any more questions, because I think my tongue is completely dried out at this point. But if you have more questions, send those over. If you haven't looked at the content, I've got it all up on Instagram. It's slowly migrating over to YouTube, and then I might even migrate it over to TikTok because, man, I really need to get in with the TikTok folks, yo. Yeah. Um, but as always, Cedia was my favorite show of the year. Maybe I'll even try to go to ISC one of these days to see what it looks like across the pond for the same kind of show. Everybody out there, thanks so much for jumping in and joining tonight. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.